You also tested these three candidates against former Congressman Mike Rogers. He's a Republican who's running for Senate as well. He was defeated by Alyssa Slotkin by less than 20,000 votes in the 2024 Senate race. So when you're looking at the hypothetical matchups, what did you find?
And we find that all of the Democrats here are competitive against Mike Rogers. So starting with McMorrow, we see 46% for McMorrow versus 43% for Rogers. So that's a 3 point lead. That's nothing to sneeze at necessarily, but it is still within the margin of error. Stevens is at 47% versus Rogers at 42%. Again, 5 point lead. That's good, but still, of course, within that margin of error. And then El Sayed does the worst, comparatively speaking. He is tied with Rogers both at 43% with 15% undecided. So I think the moral here is that it's going to be a competitive general election come November. On the whole, I think I'd rather be one of the Democratic candidates. I think in this election year, it's going to be tough for Republicans in some of these purple or swing states. And that's going to carry over into Michigan. It was competitive in 24. It'll definitely be competitive in 2026.
Sometimes when we're talking about these races, we look at the governor's approval rating or the president's approval rating to kind of get clues from there. So you're saying you'd rather be a Democrat here. The state has a Democrat governor, Governor Gretchen Whitmer. She has a national profile. What do people think about her? And then what do people think about President Trump? Because this state went for President Trump in 2024. It took a break in 2020, went for President Trump again back in 2016.
Yeah, that's right. So Trump won the state in 2024, but right now we see that he is at a deficit here. 43% approve of his job performance versus 51% who disapprove. So that is not necessarily what I want to see if I'm a Republican on the ballot. I think that this probably was impacted by some recent events in the Midwest. I think we all know what I'm talking about there. And then when we look at Whitmer's approval, we see 48% approve versus 40% disapprove. So she has managed to keep her approval numbers up here, possibly even gained since the November election in 2024. We last tested Michigan. So again, Democrats looking much better here, generically at least, and with their leaders than with Republicans.
If I'm one of those three candidates here in the Democratic primary, I'm thinking, I don't really have that high of name recognition, but good news, neither do my competitors here. So what I would do is try to differentiate myself by thinking about the top issues the people in my state care about and then go and try to message that way. So when you're looking at those issues, what exactly are they?
Yeah, and so the top issues overall, of course, the economy at 40%. We've gotten used to hearing that. Threats to democracy, 15%, healthcare, 12%, and then immigration is relatively low at 8%. When we look at Democrats specifically, we see that the economy is still their top issue, but it's only 29% versus that 40% for the general electorate as a whole. And then threats to democracy is very close, 28%. I think that that's somewhere that the candidates could differentiate themselves. I know that a lot of other Democrats are doing the same things there, but I think that that is worth concentrating on. And then healthcare, 17%, so somewhat higher than the general electorate. That could also be another area to concentrate their campaigns on, especially given some of the changes to the ACA this year and subsidies. I think that that could resonate with voters for sure.
Matt Taglia, I always appreciate your polling and our conversations. Thanks so much for the time today.
Thanks so much, Brittany.